The most precious thing you can give a child is his or her childhood. Education is their birthright, so against child labor we must fight. Today is being observed as World Day Against Child Labor, and the focus is to bring attention to the plight of child laborers around the world and the need for a united effort to end all forms of the practice. We have some educational features lined up just for you, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
The Joint Select Committee of Parliament reviewing the Domestic Violence Act wants to hear from you. Review the act and share your opinions with the committee. You can find a copy of the act on the Parliament's website at www.japarliament.gov.jm under the heading Publications. Once you've reviewed the Act, submit your written opinions by Friday, June 14, 2024 to Clerk to the Houses, Gordon House, 81 Duke Street, Kingston, or email them at clark@japarliament.gov.jm. Let your voice be heard.
Good day, I'm Lisa Rowe and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, June 12, 2024. As the country continues its transition to a republic state, the Constitutional Reform Committee has proposed citizenship criteria for the appointment of a president. Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs Marlene Malahoo Fort made the revelation during her contribution to the sectoral debate in Parliament on Tuesday. The recommendation is for the person to be a Jamaican citizen by birth or descent.
The criterion for citizenship by descent should be limited to 3 generations. And in this case, the nominee would be considered the 3rd generation, the parent of the nominee, the 2nd generation, and the grandparent of the nominee, the 1st generation. Therefore, the nominee's entitlement to citizenship by descent would be derived from no further than the grandparent. The prospective president is to be ordinarily resident in Jamaica and be permanently resident for at least 10 of the last 15 years preceding nomination. Not be under a duty of allegiance to a foreign power or foreign state by his or her own act and not another person's, and not be disqualified for election to the Parliament.
Meanwhile, the CRC has recommended a 2-step appointment process for the office of presidency. It is being proposed that the Prime Minister would nominate the President after consultation with the Leader of the Opposition. This will be followed by a parliamentary confirmation process.
So there is a recommendation for the appointment of the President in the event that there is no consensus between the Prime Minister and the Leader of the Opposition. Some are saying that if the provision were to be included, it may be license for no consensus to be achieved. The members of the CRC do not hold that view. We took a lot of time looking at this matter.
The Minister of Finance has announced a phased transition to the Twin Peaks regulatory model of the financial sector. Under the Twin Peaks model, the Bank of Jamaica will supervise deposit-taking institutions, with the Financial Services Commission having oversight for non-bank financial institutions. The concept was first announced by the government in January 2023, with the aim of reforming and bolstering the oversight of the country's financial activities. In a statement to Parliament on Tuesday, Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark announced that full implementation was expected to take place by 2026.
The Twin Peaks practice period is scheduled to commence in this quarter and will run through to the selected appointed date when Twin Peaks legislative changes come into effect. The Twin Peaks practice period, Madam Speaker, is intended to enable capacity building and closer collaboration between the regulators pending the passage of the legislation to enable implementation of the Twin Peaks model.
Minister Clark says a legal framework or concept paper is approved and a cabinet submission will be made shortly ahead of drafting instructions to give effect to the model. He adds that the practice period is necessary to ensure a seamless transition once the anticipated framework changes are ratified.
The objective of the practice period is to prepare team members for Twin Peaks implementation by providing opportunities for real-world experience in the supervision and regulation of DTIs and non-DTIs within the constraints of existing regulatory frameworks.
Meanwhile, fines for banks that fail to comply with the newly introduced minimum service standards for automated banking machines, ABMs, are being included in legislation being drafted for the Twin Peaks model.
The laws governing BOJ and FSC do not at the present time provide them with the legal authority to enforce such standards related to consumer protection through the imposition of fines. It is proposed that this will be addressed under the legislative changes proposed under the Twin Peaks model.
The minister reveals that since the publication of new ABM guidelines in April, there has been a marked improvement in the level of service customers are receiving at the machines. Bid proposals will be sent out this week to the 5 international companies that have been pre-qualified under the Spark program. They were shortlisted from a pool of 8 companies that made submissions, 2 of which were local firms. Minister with responsibility for works, Robert Morgan, says the bid proposals are for 4 packages across the island. He was speaking earlier today at the post-cabinet press briefing.
We expect those bid proposals to be returned by mid-August, and then we will seek approval from the Public Procurement Commission as well as Cabinet to award contracts by the end of September this year. These contracts will be for 2 years with an additional year for defects liability, as well as where the contractor would be carrying out corrective measures if there are challenges with the completed works.
Minister Morgan says 24 community consultation meetings have been held across 21 constituencies and a priority listing of roads has been developed. He says inspections and rapid assessments will be undertaken to determine the preliminary cost to rehabilitate these roads.
Importantly, we have also sent a list to the National Water Commission to determine the needs and status of water lines on these roads, and preliminary costs will be shared with the CDF to determine the final priority list per constituency for the initial $1 million allocation. So it is split into 2. For the first year, $150 million for members of parliament and constituencies based on the consultation, which is about $10 billion, and then another $10 billion in the first year for national roads, NWA roads, roads that are main roads but are not community roads.
Minister Morgan says 60 main roads have been selected by the National Works Agency, NWA, for repairs under the Spark program. Spark is the government's shared prosperity through accelerated improvement program where $20 billion will be used to fix community roads and another $20 billion for main roads. And finally, the government will continue to strengthen the country's forensic science services as a vital part of the criminal justice system. Minister of National Security, Dr. Horace Chang, reiterated the commitment during the Caribbean Association of Forensic Sciences CAFS conference on Monday. Dr. Chang says the merging of 2 entities to create the Institute of Forensic Science and Legal Medicine demonstrates the need to provide strong, effective forensic science and service to the criminal justice system.
Jamaica has come a long way in strengthening its forensic science service. This institute has been effectively equipped with the most modern equipment. We are building a modern autopsy suite, and we have a high-quality forensic ballistic center.
This not only serves as a database for crime, but also as a national DNA database. Further plans for strengthening include putting in place a firearm registry, where every firearm entering the country will be logged by the manufacturer's serial number and also be engraved with a serial number assigned by the Firearm Licensing Authority, FLA.
Later this year, when we open the autopsy suite, we will have indeed one of the finest institute of the sort in the Caribbean and in this part of the world. I hope we'll be available to share knowledge with our colleagues in the Caribbean and also to provide a facility that can provide quality training.
Dr. Chang says the ministry will be working closely with not only colleagues across the Caribbean, but also universities to develop a pool of individuals in the police force and beyond who are qualified in forensic science and legal medicine. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Lisa Rowe. Thanks for watching.
Every student attending Heart and Estate Trust under the New Care Initiative will get $15,000 each month to help cover their travel expenses to the Heart School they're attending and get an extra $13,000 each week while they're training.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
The Ministry of Justice has been clearing the backlog of court cases and increasing juror stipend, among a host of other things. Stick around to find out more about what is being done this financial year.
Government is steadfast in its pursuit of a world-class justice system dedicated to providing justice and transforming lives. Key initiatives such as enhancing court infrastructure and tackling case backlogs are at the forefront of the Ministry of Justice's efforts.
The parish courts are now effectively backlog-free. This is a major achievement. The statistics show that less than 2.5% of the cases are in backlog, which means these cases have not been tried in 24 months. To put it differently, approximately 98% of cases are completed within 24 months. Close to 90% of all the cases are tried and completed within 12 months. The likelihood is that before long, 100% of cases will be tried and completed within 18 months in the parish courts. Indeed, going forward, the parish court's mission is to complete simple cases within 3 months, standard cases within 6 months, complex cases within 12 months, and all cases within 18 months. When achieved, and it will be soon, Jamaica's court system will rank amongst the best.
The recent cabinet approval for an increased stipend for jurors is testament to the commitment to enhance the judicial process.
Each juror whose name is called for any circuit will be paid $2,000 for each day that juror attends circuit, or $2,000. Jurors who are impaneled and who serve on a case will now get $6,000 instead of the present $2,000, a 200% increase.
The relentless drive to improve court resources and infrastructure continues to underpin the ministry's vision for a robust justice system.
Shortly, we will be putting in solar panels. We have started at the Sun Street and the halfway tree courts, and we hope to put solar panels in most of the courts across Jamaica. This, Madam Speaker, will ensure that we move towards the greener environment. One new court we hope that will be opened this year, and that is the St. Thomas in Morant Bay. The urban center is being developed, and that new court will be hopefully opened in this fiscal year. In addition to the over $300 million that we'll be spending to improve all the other courts.
Amidst Jamaica's remarkable economic growth, the Justice Ministry remains focused on settling judgment debts for completed cases, ensuring timely justice.
2023, the government provided us with $750 million to pay judgment debt. We paid out $530 million for all infractions and returned $220 million back to the government. We want to make sure that when people sue the government for whatever infractions, that they get their money. And under this administration, we have done it for the last 8 years.
And for this fiscal year,
the Ministry of Finance, the government, has provided us with $680 million this year.
The Legal Aid Council tirelessly pursues its mission to provide free quality legal support and effective representation for those who need it. To ensure the service is reaching more citizens, the Council is providing Jamaican Sign Language training for its lawyers. In the 2024-2025 financial year, the Ministry also plans to expand duty council services and boost case resolution rates across the parish, gun and circuit courts, as well as the Court of Appeal. It will also continue addressing the justice needs of persons with disabilities. The Justice Ministry is proposing the use of mediation to deal with estate matters at the Administrator General's Department AGD. The department currently has over 5,000 active estates and more than 900 enquiry cases in administration, including 338 matters from 2023-24. Over the past 5 years, the AGD has taken on an average 360 new cases per year and average 420 closed during the relevant period.
Where we have a problem really right now is to get the beneficiaries to come together and agree how the thing should be apportioned. What I'm planning to do is to get a mediation department in the Administrator General's department to deal with all these beneficiaries who curse one another as to what portion they should get, even though the law is there to tell them what portion they are to get.
Efforts are underway to update the Restorative Justice Act to keep it effective and relevant.
In 2023-24, I tabled a copy of the Restorative Justice Policy Green Paper. The policy's revision is geared towards improving the implementation of the National Restorative Justice Program. We embarked on several initiatives for public engagement and feedback, and to date there have been no objections. I'm looking forward, Madam Speaker, to tabling the white paper during this financial year with a view to have an updated Restorative Justice Act shortly thereafter.
Mediation continues to be actively used as a dispute resolution option to arrive at mutually acceptable agreements.
Sometime shortly, we hope to bring to Parliament a new mediation act, which we hope, like arbitration, will position Jamaica as a dispute or commercial dispute center that other countries or parties can visit Jamaica to have their matters settled.
And on the matter of expungement?
A number of persons apply for expungement, but we have limited it to a few cases, and also the sentence must not be over 5 years. Madam Speaker, it's an area that we are looking at carefully because there are many persons who have had a sentence over 5 years, sometimes 10, 12 years. They have served their sentence, they're in their communities, they have lived 20 years without any further conviction, and we need to really examine carefully whether those cases an expungement could be provided. It is a matter that I'm taking to Cabinet and have discussions before I take it to Parliament.
The evidence is in. Much has already been achieved, and even more is on the docket for the Ministry of Justice in the 2024-2025 legislative year.
The future of every nation depends on every child. Let us recommit ourselves to the cause of children's rights. Let us pledge to be vigilant guardians of their innocence, their right to education, to safety, and to a future filled with promise. Let us encourage them to stand up, speak out, and ensure that every child's voice is heard, every child's right is protected, and every child's future is bright.
Child labor is a no. Children are indeed the leaders of tomorrow, but today it is our job to lead and provide for them. Now is the time for them to learn, play, and be nurtured. Let's all commit to putting an end to child labor.
The culture of Jamaica is such that our parents would have instilled in us the value of work. And there is nothing wrong with parents ensuring that children understand the value of work. But when that crosses the line to getting our children engaged in illegal activities, such as scamming, when that crosses the line to get our children engaged in illegal activities such as becoming involved in the illegal sex trade and human trafficking, when that crosses the line such that being involved in work deprives the child of the opportunity of education, then that is not the kind of child labor that any country can be proud of. Many of our parents continue to take children out of school to help them in the markets on a Thursday and on a Friday. I can well understand and appreciate the need for the support of the household so that you can go to school on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. But parents, you have to desist from doing that. The government has provided the resources necessary to ensure that children can remain in school for the full 5 days per week. And I encourage all parents, no matter how you are struggling, to take advantage of the support that the government gives through the PATH program and other means. There is no excuse for parents to take their children out of school to support them in any form of economic activity.
Yo, this is we're committed to reducing the impact of disasters occurring in Jamaica. We're ever ready to assist you before, during, and after a disaster. But everybody have a role to play, so make we work together and follow the plan. Whether rich or poor or where you come from, hurricanes affect everyone, so be prepared. Prevention is better than cure. Be prepared. Listen to ADPEM. A message from the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management.
Whether it's sign language or gestures, there are many ways in which you can communicate with persons who are deaf. They need to feel a sense of belonging rather than being left out. So let's learn more about ways in which you can communicate with hearing impaired individuals.
Some things we may say. No. Thank you. Goodbye. Excuse me.
Yes. Please. Hello. I'm sorry.
Wanna play? What's up? Stop. What's a Wi-Fi password?
Come. Wait. Where's the bathroom? What's your name?
Drink. Water. What's the name of your school? Where's the town?
Taxi, bus park, shop.
How to get a deaf person's attention. Don't shout at me. Don't throw anything at me. That's dangerous. You can walk beside me and touch me on my shoulder lightly, or you can wave at me. If I'm in a room, you can flicker the lights.
Maintain eye contact. Ensure you're looking directly at the person you're speaking with. Try not to let your eyes wander. Also, it's best to communicate in a room that has good lighting. If it's too dark, communication will be difficult.
Please, make sure you don't have anything in your hands when you're talking to me.
If you cannot sign, you can write, draw, show a picture, or text.
Another way you can communicate with me is by using gestures. You can use your body and your hands to speak. For example, if you don't know the sign for bus, you could use this sign. If you don't know the sign for stop, you could use this gesture.
And that's a wrap for us here today, but be sure to join us tomorrow on this same station for another program that is geared to keep you in the know. Until then, visit our website, jis.gov.jm, for this and more offerings. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Theodore Henry, reminding you that the lives of little ones are destroyed when child labor is employed.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.